I created a video earlier today and I accidentally deleted it. So I'm going to be kind of quick with this one, but I want to go through what we did today because I think I already got some messages that students were a little frustrated as to how to do the homework. So we're really going to focus on what our standard is this week. We're adding and subtracting fractions with unlike denominators. Right now, students are completely 100% comfortable with adding and subtracting with like denominators because add and subtract the numerators, denominator stays the same. But now that we're stepping it up a notch in 5th grade, now we're using unlike denominators. So they're different denominators. But the key part of our standard says by replacing given fractions with equivalent fractions in such a way to produce an equivalent sum. So what we're doing is we are literally taking two fractions and we are replacing it with other fractions that have the same value, but are, sorry, I'm doing a video, Mr. Purchase. So we're creating fractions that have the same value, but will have the same denominator. So let's say, for example, we do, let's do 1/2 plus 1/4. We look at this and we know, oh, we can't add or subtract it because they have unlike denominators. So what our focus was today was we're really using our fraction tiles. And so we pulled up our 1/2. I'm going to go ahead and draw that up here. So I'll show that this is my 1/2. And so we're trying to find something equivalent to 1/2 that we can change that denominator, but doesn't change the value. So what we discovered today was that we had our fourths, and we realized that our 1/2 and our fourths are exactly the same value. So down here, I'm going to draw my entire whole, and I'm going to break this up into my fourths. So now I'm going to shade or label the 1/4 because now I see that 1/2 is the same thing as my 2/4. So I'm going to go ahead and cross out my 1/2 and I'm replacing it. I'm not changing the value. I'm replacing my 1/2 as to now 2/4. And so now I look and I go, oh, well, I can do 2/4 plus 1/4 because denominators stay the same and you just add your numerators. So that's what we're trying to really focus on. Also, another strategy is looking at common denominators for 2 and 4. So if I have my 1/2 and my 1/4, I can list common denominators. For example, if I want to list the multiples of 2, and you start counting at 2, you realize, ooh, there's that common denominator. So now you can change your 1/2 and have it equal to, well, we don't know what it's going to turn into because 2 times what equals 4, 2. And whatever you do to your denominator, you do to your numerator to create that equivalent fraction. And so now we know 1/2 is the exact same as 2/4. Kind of like we say, this is Miss Holman or this is Haley Holman. 2 different ways to write it, but have the exact same value. And one other thing that we were doing was, we're taking the same fraction we're working with, and we realized that 1/2 is equivalent to 2/4. So we're adding it using our base 10 blocks. So I'm going to break this up into fourths again. And so I'm going to change the color so I can show my 2/4. That's the 2/4. And then I want to show how you add on your 1/4. And all together, you have 3 out of the 4 parts shaded in. Also, I know that a lot of friends are confused as to the different ways to write a fraction. We talk about how this is a division sign, and so we know that this reads as 1 divided by 3, or you could read it as 1 divided by 3. And so there's 2 other ways that you can write your division problem, which I'm not going to give away right now because I want you to look back in your notes. But remember, this is a division problem. How many different ways can you write a division problem? All right, guys, use your models tonight. Find those common denominators. I hope that helps. And I'll see you on Wednesday.